What's up guys, Tim Little. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. Today's video, we're talking about my top 5 baits for the month of June. June bass fishing all around the country is hot, right? The weather's heating up, those water temps are up, even up north, right? Those fish are in that spawn, that post-spawn mode. The rest of the country, those fish are either back in the grass or out on the deep structure, the ledges or the rock piles. So today, my top 5 baits, top 5 categories, because I have some different baits, for the month of June. You guys know how much we like doing these videos and how hard it is to literally take your entire tackle box, your boat, whatever fishing tackle you've accumulated through the years, and narrow it down to just 5 categories. But today I've done that, and let's jump right into it. Again, water temps are up, fish are aggressive. Most part of the country, those fish are post-spawn and they're looking to feed up. So reaction for me, number 1 is gonna be the frog. Frog fishing. I think about it 12 months out of the year. I really think about it in those winter months when you wish you could be throwing a frog in shorts, power fishing in the grass, but I have a couple different frogs for you, depending on if you want to throw a walking frog or some kind of kicker frog, that teckle, or that spro flapping frog. But a frog, you know, like we've taught in the where do the fish go post-spawn videos, a lot of these fish are going to stay shallow. They're going to look for that grass. They're going to get back in that vegetation, back in those shady, gnarly, grassy pockets, right? Sometimes there's even cheese, there's matted up stuff. So you're going to have to power fish straight braid, typically 50, 65, sometimes even 80-pound braid on a big stout rod. That way when that fish eats, you can jack them and get them out of that cover. But a frog, that's my number 1. If I'm staying shallow, I'm throwing a frog in the grass, looking for that real lively green grass. Again, looking for that shade, that cooler water. You know, these fish use that grass as just a blanket, a cover to kind of hide in, cooler water in that shaded area, and then ambush from. So, number 1 is going to be some kind of walking frog. That's that River to Sea. That's Matt and I's color we designed many years ago. That's Little Allen. That's my number 1 frog. Another great walking frog is that new one, the new Bobby Barracks frog. Really liked that one. Got to play with that a lot last year. So that 1, 2, boom, boom. There's my walking frogs. Now, if I want a frog that is made for cover and water, something you cast out and just reel back, a weedless whopper plopper, if you will, that's when I'm gonna go with one of these guys. Either the teckle or that spro flapping frog. What's cool about this, it's made out of that, I don't even know what material. It's not Elastec like Z-Man, but it is something like that. But it is very, very resilient. You can catch a lot of fish on this guy right here. Again, it makes that cool little horny toad sound, but when you pause it, it doesn't sink, it floats. So one of these 2 are gonna be my go-tos for frogs. Now, sticking with topwater, and then we'll talk deep fish, because again, we're talking the fish that went shallow, and then we'll talk about the deep fish. Gonna be one of 2 topwater baits, either the walking bait or the whopper plopper. Now, I just explained about the grass, how those fish are gonna get up in it. So if I'm fishing in and around grass, I'm gonna throw that frog around and over the tops of the grass. I'm gonna throw these baits along the edges of the grass. If I can visually see that grass line, I'm gonna work these baits along that grass line. Now, typically this time of the year, I'm throwing one of 3 colors, either black, some kind of chrome or some flash, and then bone. Those are my 3 colors. Doesn't matter if I'm fishing smallmouth, spotted bass, or largemouth. You know, they love the black. Those spots really love the chrome, and those smallmouth love the bone for some reason. But you know, typically they're in clear water. You'd think that they'd like the flash, but I've caught some of my biggest smallmouth on the bone color, you know, a bone version, or black. But again, the walking bait, That gunfish, that 117, we've talked about that a few times recently in videos. It's that newer bait, the shower blows, the 105, and actually the 95 gunfish I really, really like. And then the whopper plopper. That's that 110. The 130 is the most common size, a little bit larger. That's the bait that a lot of guys throw. So I've had a lot of success in the last couple years throwing that 110 size, just downsizing a little bit. Still has that great sound, but there it is, guys. A frog, a walking bait, and a plopping bait. That suffices for my topwater baits. Now, let's talk about the deep fish. Hands down, month of June, #1 bait for deep fish is gonna be some kind of deep running crankbait. Either the 6XD, the DT16 or 20 by Rapala, or the DD22. Now they look fairly similar, but they all have a little bit different action. That's why these are my 3 favorite warm weather crankbaits. Now, you guys know that we design crankbaits for cold water. These are gonna be opposite. Real aggressive, real wide thumping, real wide kicking. Typically, I'm starting off with that 6XD, either in some kind of shad pattern or even a chartreuse blue. That Rapala, that DT20, DT16, and then I've had a lot of success with this is the old Norman DD22. This is a bait that I grew up fishing, done a lot of damage night fishing it in the summer months, but those are my 3 favorite crankbaits for the month of June. Now again, these fish, we talked about the shallow fish, you know, the fish that you're targeting with a frog in the grass. Now we're talking about the deep fish with a crankbait. The next bait, actually the next 2 baits, you could fish a version of either shallow or deep. Now again, this is really hard to narrow it down to just 5 baits, 5 categories of baits, but the next bait that I'm gonna talk about is gonna be the swim bait. So I grabbed 3 versions of almost the same swim bait, depending on where you're fishing, the type of fishery you're fishing. Is it a grass fishery? Is it a highland reservoir, deep, steep canyon fishery? And the species, spots, smallmouth, largemouth. So #1 is just gonna be a 4.8 or a 5.8 Kitech. Rigged on a Matt Allen head, that is my go-to. I'm throwing a little bit bigger swim bait. Again, these fish are post-spawn. They're wanting to feed up. I wanna give them an easy, larger meal, if you will, targeting those bigger fish. So that's gonna be hands down my #1. Again, Matt Allen swim bait head has a more stout of a hook than the Tactical Finesse. Again, 30-degree line tie, so it makes that body real unstable, gives that swim bait a lot of belly wobble. Now you guys that are fishing in grass, same thing. I'm just gonna throw it weedless, Texas rig. You can throw it on a beast hook, you can throw it on a flashy swimmer, totally depends on you. If you wanna add that flash, throw that flashy swimmer. If not, just throw it on a beast. You know, take that flash away and fish that right along those same grass lines that you're throwing your topwater on. And flipping it over to the deep side, gonna go with either some kind of scrounger. You know, you can throw a Kitech on the scrounger head, or again, just that jig hook swim bait is gonna be money. Again, you're looking for those ledges, right? Out here on the TVA, it's all about ledge fishing. Those fish pull out of the backs of the bays, they go out to that first break on the main river channel. That's where you're looking for those big schools of fish. This time of the year, these fish are schooling up. Like I said, it's post-spawn. They're looking to feed up, and a lot of times you can find them in really large schools. So you can catch one after another if you can get that school fired up. So great bait for the ledge, great bait for rock piles. Offshore stuff is gonna be the scrounger. That's paired up with that Scottsboro. Again, I'll link everything down below in the video description. Or just the jig head, exposed jig head swim bait. Now, last but not least, how do you do this video for the month of June without talking about some kind of, I'm gonna give you the option, either a Texas rig bait or a shaky head. 50-50, totally up to you. It doesn't, when I was pulling these baits for this video, you know, I was thinking, you know, what would I kind of find myself fishing? What would I gravitate to? And there's no right answer because it depends on the fishery. If you're fishing shallow in grass, both of these will work, but I'm probably gonna go with the Texas rig. You know, a light Texas rig with some kind of creature bait. This is that Man Bear Pig by Reaction Innovations. But guess what? A shaky head on a 3/16 ounce or 1/4 ounce head, that's that T-Mac in that Bama Bug color, is lights out too. These both work. I guess if I had to pick one and I was going shallow, I would go with the Texas rig. Of course, there's not a right answer. You know, if you want to throw a Texas rig out deep, you just throw a bigger worm on it or a bigger creature bait. And then if I'm going deep or I'm fishing brush piles or grass edges, I'm gonna go with the shaky head. Again, you can go larger. You can throw a Magnum shaky head with a big 10, 12, 14-inch worm. But for this video, totally depends on your fishery. So either a light Texas rig or a shaky head. Again, I'll link my favorite baits down below in the video description. But that's it, guys. Those 5 baits. If you have some kind of deep crank, some kind of shaky head or Texas rig, a version of a swim bait, a topwater, and a frog, you are covered on all bases. Yes, there's different rabbit trails you can go down and different techniques you can go down to, but just trying to simplify it for you. So my top 5 baits are right there. The crankbait, the frog, topwater bait, either walking or plopper, Texas rig or shaky head, and a swim bait. Guys, hopefully you guys aren't afraid of the heat. I know June, it starts getting really, really warm, but if you get out early morning, you stay out late in the evenings, make sure you bring your bug spray because the mosquitoes start going crazy, but you can have a lot of fun and you don't have to necessarily be in the heat. You can beat the heat, but those 5 categories of baits, I have a ton of confidence in, especially for the month of June, and you guys will catch more fish. If you guys have any questions, please leave those down below in the comments section. I will try to get to those as soon as possible. But there it is, guys, my top 5 baits for the month of June. Get out, catch some fish, and enjoy the time on the water. As always, guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate the support. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next video.